on this, and again, if you choose not to do top stitching, that's fine, but an extra point on your shirt if you do top stitching. You can do 1 or 2 rows. I'm going to just do a 1/4 inch top stitch. And for this, I don't change anything on my corners. I just do a pivot on my corners, right? Because I want those to look sharp, but if I'm actually turning it, we don't want to just pivot. Okay. So, actually, I'm going to do a second row. It just looks so much nicer. So this decorative top stitching you'll see on different shirts. And again, this 1/8 inch top stitching that I'm sort of doing on the edge, I'm lining up the edge of my, where I'm trying to get that seam to go, or that stitch line to go, right with the inside of my foot. And if I can guide it along that, it actually still hits the fabric. Just can be a little bit tricky to get used to that. So it's good practice if you do your top stitching. Play with that. So this is looks finished basically, but now we have to set it into the actual collar stand. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put our collar stand on the table like this, and we're going to do right sides together, and inside of that, where the notches are, and you'll see there's a notch here and there's notches on either side, we're going to sandwich the collar in between the collar stand pieces. And I'm going to pin this because it's very important, and again, there's more notches, so those notches meet up. And so now I can pin this where those notches are, and make sure all 4 layers, there's 2 layers from the collar and 2 layers from the collar stand, all 4 layers are matching all the raw edges up evenly. Otherwise you're going to get a wonky collar, and it gets a little complicated down here. Just make sure you kind of move them around to make sure they match up, and the curves of your collar stand should also match up perfectly. It's very important to make sure you do the correct amount of seam allowance on this, and it's all 1/2 inch, because these collar stands are going to then fit into the neckline of the shirt. And if this collar stand is off here, the center front, the part right at your neck, is going to be all uneven, and that's like a really unfortunate place to have an uneven stitch line. So 1/2 inch seam allowance, just stitch right around this. Smooth curve, because if that gets a little square, again, that's right where your eye line is going to go. And same thing with these, I would, especially around these curves, you're going to want to at least clip them, but you can also trim and grade them. You don't have to clip the whole thing. I'm just going to trim, not grade, but you're welcome to do that. Especially where this collar part is, because it gets really bulky in there. You really want to make sure that that's not all left in there, because it can get a little cumbersome. Again, with muslin, it's really pretty easy, but if anybody's using anything thicker, I think somebody's using more of a canvas. And so I'm going to then flip this and press it. And I'm going to make sure when I press it that both sides get pressed, because if I don't look at both sides, this can get flipped up like that, and it's really important that these all stay nice and even.